Hi, how are y'all doing?
Good. How are
Good,
you?
how are you?
Great, great. I love the movie.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's great. With both of y'all, doing the directing, the writing, and the starring, how complicated did that get?
I mean, it's something that you think isn't getting complicated, and then when you're actually on set, you're like, oh no, what did we get ourselves into? But in the end, we had such an incredible crew that helped us. Sometimes, both of us would be on screen at the same time, so there was no way to watch what was going on with performances and sort of just trusting that our crew and that our DP, is getting what we want, sometimes without us seeing it, sort of going in blind. But, yeah, there's a lot of responsibility, I think, that comes along with it, and...
Yeah, I think that writing it made it a lot easier to direct it and made it a lot easier to act in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we're so close to the material, it's something we know so well. It's never like you show up on set and you're like, oh, I'm not really super familiar with this. We knew every line of every character's in the movie. Like, the whole thing was committed to memory, so we could really be flexible with what we were shooting on any given day, just between ourselves. And then it helps so much as a filmmaker, as a director, to just know the story so intimately. But then, yeah, I'd say a couple more of the challenges came from directing and acting at the same time, and just things like Finn and I both, as you said, being in the same scene.
It was totally, like, fine and easy, when one of us wasn't in the same scene, because, like, one of us could be, like, sort of like the director who's watching playback and watching everything and be able to trust the other person. And sometimes you just have to go on trust of the crew. So, it was both. I mean, there's a rush about it as well, and very fun where, because we are in the movie, not every day were we supposed to be shooting, but we ended up shooting most days, I feel like, and would wear our costumes and direct sometimes in our costumes just in case we needed to film a different scene or needed to pop in for something. So it was sort of made it a very immersive experience.
Right, right. Well, that's awesome. How did it come to be, the movie? I mean, how did y'all get together to create this?
Well, Billy and I had met on the set of Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we were both actors on that, and soon became, like, very close, and had actually met very briefly a few years earlier, where we had met on the street corner, and Billy had recognized me, but we had talked about our shared, like, love of comedy and all these things, and I remember having just, like, a really great talk with Billy, and then seeing him on set, it was this thing of, like, oh wow, like, this person is like, we just basically started that conversation again and kept talking and realized, both of us had a very similar sensibility and that we both wanted to make films, and it just made sense for us to write something together, I think, and at the time, like, I was really excited to be writing with someone who spoke the same language, sort of, or that's how it felt. So that's kind of where it came from, is just us kind of wanting to try to write something together.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I know that, I mean, you can sense throughout the movie that it, had those great kind of moments from classic slasher movies. But I want to know which one's your favorite.
That's
a great question. I think my favorite slasher movie is probably Halloween, the first Halloween film. Yeah. I think it's like one of the purest, best, from a filmmaking perspective. It's like so incredible, and so many things that became so iconic in the genre, I think, were born out of sort of necessity, and the way that they're working with, like, Steadicam and the way that they're lighting, and, like, it's a really special movie, and I think there's a reason that it kind of kicked off a real, just kind of everything
movement,
after it.
Sort of,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, like, for me, Sleepaway Camp, I think, is, like, insane. Like, I think that's one of the craziest movies I've ever. I just think it's so entertaining and funny and weird and disturbing. I think Sleepaway Camp is great, and I love. I remember seeing Scream 2 and just thinking that it was so awesome. And I love Scream, the first Scream, obviously, but for whatever reason, Scream 2 was the one for me, because I just loved. I remember like seeing the first one and then seeing the second one. How the second one was, it was outside more. It was during the day. It was like, it was on just a different setting. I just felt like it was a very cool follow up. So yeah, I think those are my two favorites.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait till we can talk to everybody about it.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice day.